This comes from one of the books I read. They were talking about giving yourself an A or an A+, right? That before you start something, you want to set your sights and you want to get firm on where you want to end up. And I think a lot of times what happens is exactly what happened with you, is a very natural human reaction, which is, of course, I would love a 10, but you know what? It'll probably end up being an 8. Well, guess what will happen if you want a 10, but you think it's going to end up being an 8? If you're lucky, it'll be an 8. It might be lower. So what I'm saying is that I know that you want to smash this out of the park. You want to do 10 out of 10. Okay? So I would get clear on, I am basically going to do a 10 out of 10. That's the first thing I'll do. And I'll give you an example. Like sometimes I get invitations for speeches and all these kind of things. I always say to the organizers, inshallah, my speech is going to be the best speech out of all of the speakers there. Okay? That's not because I'm the best speaker. That's not because I'm better than. It's not any of that. It's because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give it 10 out of 10, inshallah. Right? I'm probably going to end up preparing much more than they would. I'll probably work much harder than they would. I'll probably think of it more seriously than they. I'll do whatever it takes, basically. But in my mind, like what I give as a speech will be the best speech at that place. Right? So I want you to have that high standard in your mind. I want you to be like, I'm doing this. I've taken this responsibility on. And when I take a responsibility on like this, I'm serious and I will do this as a 10 out of 10 performance. That's it. There's no negotiation now. 10 out of 10 is what I'm going to do. There's no, I'm going to aim for 10. I'm going to get 9 or 8 or so. No. I'm going to do everything in my power to deliver a 10 out of 10 performance. And I think once you start with that, I think everything changes in your performance. But you have to come to that decision and go, right, yeah, I am going to give it a 10 out of 10. So that's the question for you. Are you actually willing to give it a 10 out of 10? Like, of course you want a 10 out of 10. Everyone wants it. But everyone wants to memorize the Quran, right? Not many people do. So in the same way, do you really want it? Like, you actually are going to make it happen? You want it? You're willing to put in what it takes? Or is it like, yeah, you know, I just don't want to look bad and okay, stuff. Very good. So now if you want a 10 out of 10, we've defined like the score we want. Now we need to define, what does a 10 out of 10 look like? You know, they say like, you know, like when race car drivers are driving at really high speeds, they focus on where they want to go rather than where they don't want to go. So for example, imagine I see a pole there and I'm like, don't hit the pole, don't hit the pole, don't hit the pole. They say most of the time the race driver will hit the pole. Okay? But if he's focusing, go there, go there, go there, they will adjust and they will go towards that. So I know you have fears, I know you have all these things, but I would say focus on what you want to get out of it. And from that, that's where the plan comes, right? So I would define, what does a level 10 look like? A level 10 looks like I have my lines memorized amazingly. I deliver them with passion. I deliver them with a way that actually influences and moves the audience and takes them to where I want to take them and all these kind of things, right? And then I would even define some of those things deeper, like what emotions do I want to show? What emotions do I want them to feel? How am I going to do all this stuff, right? There are some modules to do with voice, to do with body language. I would watch those modules as well. But the most important thing I would say for you to do as quick as possible is to memorize the lines and deliver the lines. Even like, you know, if they're just delivered poorly, but deliver them from memory, okay? Because as soon as you have the lines memorized, you can start then focusing on like, how am I going to say it? What am I going to say? Like, what kind of emotion, what kind of thing am I going to do? And this is what actors do. Once they learn their lines, when they deliver, it doesn't feel like they're acting. It feels very natural, even though they know their lines inside out. So I would say the most important thing for you right now, have the lines memorized. You need to define deeper, what does a 10 look like? What emotions do I want to go through? All these kind of things. And then 3 is to memorize your lines and deliver those lines. There's one more thing I didn't say, which of course is for you to put your trust in Allah and for you to make dua for this constantly. Don't make dua just when you get nervous, like 3 days before it. Like, you're working on this project now, you have a goal in your mind. The effort you can give, like you can make this 10 out of 10 in terms of effort, no doubt, right? But Allah is going to give you the 10 out of 10 result. So you need to put your trust in Allah, you need to ask Him for it, but at the same time, you need to make sure you do the 10 out of 10 work for it. You go, oh yeah, I didn't get to memorize my lines, it was a busy week, it was this, it was that. I'm like, is that a 10 out of 10 like action? Is that 10 out of 10 focus? Is that 10 out of 10 kind of effort? And if it's not, then you're not going to end up, if you keep doing level 5 effort for the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and then you get close and then you're like, now I'm going to give it level 10, it's not the same. That you need to decide, if you're serious about this, you want a level 10, you can have it, but you just got to do the work from now on, inshallah. So if you do this work, I think you'll probably be the best performer out of the whole play, inshallah. And not out of arrogance or ego, but for the sake of Allah, like you actually having excellence and doing something really well.